Rust is a game of possibilities. Every wipe is unique. Whether you can kill a full set with an Aoka or win a rock fight on the beach, no one knows. But the basic rules of survival are always the same. The only difference is whether you will be the winner in most situations or rage quit. How long you will survive depends on many factors. You never know in advance whether you will be able to build the base you planned or it's easier to put up some kind of shack. But today I will save you from these thoughts because today's base is that very shack, which in the future will turn into a full-fledged base. I have thought through every stage of construction, and just look at it. This is a regular 2x2, and as you know, you can place a huge number of boxes inside. Then we build the second floor, and not only do we have a bunker right from the start, but we also have starting shooting floor at all sides. And of course, each of these windows will be used in the future. Somewhere loot room, somewhere battery, and somewhere non-lootable locker. And in the future, all this will be sealed with 2 more sheet metal walls. And there will even be 4 walls in places to the TC. And then there will be a 3rd floor with pixel peak, a copter pad, hidden boxes inside the base, a compound, and all this is built from such a tiny shack. Follow me, I'll show you everything now. Have you been waiting long for a 2x2 from me? Of course, this base has an inner area with 4 entrances. Each entrance is guarded by a turret that is placed far away. I tried to make the compound itself as neat as possible, but I just couldn't leave it without my signature tricks. For example, here you can not only shoot away from your base, but also control the first entrance doors to the territory. And of course, if you see wooden shutters, it means that you can attach a grenade to them and blow up those who will do or camp you. A cool trick, I couldn't help but add it. And there is also a wooden ledge near this shooting position, but I will tell you about that later. This is also a kind of trick. In total, this base has 2 entrances to the inside, but one entrance is fake, it leads to a dead end. It is in this fake entrance that your external combat spawn is located. There is room for 4 beds in total. The base is completely symmetrical, and the compound itself is divided into 2 parts. So if the raiders want to capture the territory near this base, they simply won't be able to do it, or they will have to blow it up twice. In this base, turrets are installed at the limit, 12 pieces. 4 of them are in the compound. If you are on your territory and hear that someone is shooting somewhere, you do not need to climb to the shooting floor because you can do it all right from here. And of course, on this side, there is also this wooden ledge, which I will tell you about later. And now we are already entering the main, not fake entrance to the base. Here I place sleeping bags, just in case there is a place to put resources, locker, 2 entrances can be checked, and of course, go upstairs. To make it convenient to move around here, I recommend putting garage doors in this place. And then, right from here, we go to the center of the base. And after going through 3 doors, we find ourselves on the floor, which at first serves us as the starting shooting floor. That is, in this window, we have 3 boxes with a repair bench. Further, we have a window with electric furnaces and a non-lootable locker. And all this is completed by another loot room for 4 large boxes, although at least 2 walls to some loot on this floor. Behind the garage door, we have an ascent higher, but we also have 2 batteries behind the windows. There are more furnaces and a research table on the ascent, and the 3rd floor itself is a kind of semi-open core. Here you have 2 full-fledged loot rooms, of course, with shotgun traps. Don't pay attention to the sleeping bags. I put them for beauty. And also, in addition to this, behind the vending machines are our non-lootable lockers. You can either put the best full sets in them or hide some of the resources for the night. A cool trick. Why not, if there is an opportunity? But even this is not all on this floor. After all, there are also secret boxes, which are located on the floor above. 3 boxes fit there, but if you are some kind of pro gamer, you can put 4 large ones. This is called a pixel gap loot room, and to make it, you don't need to allocate anything. We will build it already in the finished base. I will show you. Also, from our semi-open core, you can go to the shooting floor. Here is the pixel peak that you love so much, and on the other hand, everything is the same. The same turret under the ascent, 6 furnaces, and an ascent higher. And with the help of a solar panel, you can adjust how much you will look out of this peak. But this is not the only loophole for shooting, because from here you can control almost all sides. Not a bad position, agree? It will be very difficult to kill you. If we go further, then here we have 2 exits to the shooting floor itself, as well as a combat spawn for 2 beds. If you are playing less, then instead of 1 bed, you can put a locker. And here is the shooting floor of this base in front of you. I made it as comfortable as possible. There are simply no blind spots under this base. And even if someone is sitting right under the walls of your base, you will still be able to see them from the shooting floor. But since the base is is symmetrical, we have everything the same on the other side. There are also 2 identical exits to the shooting floor and another main combat spawn. Right in front of this combat spawn, there is an ascent even higher. There is also a solar panel for the pixel peak here, as well as an overview of the roof itself. By the way, I completely forgot to show you, right under the same place where we are now, there is the same view, but it controls the shooting floor. I couldn't help but draw your attention to this. Suddenly, you didn't see it. Then we rise to the very top of this base. Here we have such windows and exits to 2 sides of the roof. They are completely identical. I will show you one. The most important thing is that there is a turret behind double chains, and there are such slots between the roofs, thanks to which you will be able to shoot comfortably while on the roof. And of course, the helipad is also located here, which I told you about at the very beginning. I also put a computer station here so that you can watch what you need on the cameras and fly about your business. I filled the remaining 2 squares with beds, but even this is not all, in fact. After all, you have 3 more boxes here. This is already the second secret stash in this base. One is below, the other is higher, and most importantly, it is all built, in fact, at the very end of construction. That is, you will not need to allocate any foundations at the beginning and so on. I will show you how to do this. It is very simple. The main thing is the sequence. To the main in this base, there are at least 3 walls. To the TC in places 4. The descent to the first floor is protected by an iron bunker, and for it to work, it needs a high HQM foundation. And you will say, hidden joint, well, here it is, the weak spot. I assure you, it is not. Look at how many walls to this place, and you still need to guess with the side, and the base is completely symmetrical. It is 50 by 50. And to be honest, if they raid you exactly into this HQM foundation, then 4 walls to the TC will be just right. To open this bunker, you need to stand on the sleeping bag inside and break the wooden foundation. As soon as you do this, the roof will also collapse. But while you are in the network, you can get to the second floor in this way. To close the bunker, you will need to upgrade the foundation to wood and put a square roof. I recommend upgrading the roof itself to sheet metal. There is no point in upgrading to HQM because the ceilings will break down anyway. Here you have many sleeping bags, many boxes, stoves, a 3rd workbench, and the TC itself. Its upkeep is in front of you. You can also put an HQM wall here at any time and put 2 drop boxes, thereby sealing your TC in an HQM cube. And now, remember, I told you about this wooden ledge on the territory? As soon as you feel that you will need multi-TC, just break it, and after that, you can build a full-fledged multi-TC to the base. And as soon as you do this, even if you are raided to the main TC on the first floor, they will not be able to build you up because this very multi-TC that we just put will interfere with them, and you can do such a miracle from 2 sides. This is a very powerful thing that is only a plus for this base. Similar technologies are used in my new, already 6th private base on Patreon. This is a real duo fortress, which is equipped with not only 6 bunkers in different parts of the base, but also has 3 secret loot rooms, which will be very difficult to find. 3 walls to the TC, amazing potential for online defense and turrets that are behind 5 chains. And for just $7.50, you will get access to this base, as well as all the other content that I publish there. And that's already at least 5 private bases for every taste. The link to Patreon will be in the description. Subscribe, you won't regret it. You can start off by building any 2x2 you like. The most important thing is that there is no airlock. And so that it is convenient for you to build the base later, I will immediately show you the future plan of the base foundations so that you can rewind the video to the beginning at any time and understand how it should be. Our main will be made of HQM, everything else will be sheet metal, and upgrade the high foundations as shown in the video. It is important that the twig foundation near the high triangle should not be upgraded in any case. This is needed for the future bunker. And now we start building the starting shack. It will be made of 3 squares. I will upgrade it immediately to the final version. You can initially make everything out of stone. To make it convenient for everyone to use, place the TC as I do in the video. I add light for your convenience. I think everyone here knows what a 2x2 is. And I don't think I need to talk about how spacious this base is. From the outside, it all looks like this, but if we take a look from the player's perspective, it will be immediately clear that everyone is comfortable using it. And if you need more protection, just add more doors. But I recommend making an exit to the second floor of this base as soon as possible and build it up as I do in the video. It would be a shame to mess up at this stage. It is best to make the ascent from the inside either through stoves or through such a staircase. When you are building up the top part of the ascent, do not forget to add a ceiling in the middle of the wall. If you postpone this until later, it will be very difficult difficult to put it in later. For now, we are upgrading everything to sheet metal here. This won't be too difficult, so I'll take a minute to thank you all. Thank you for being loyal viewers of my Hidden Joint channel. We are already almost 3,000 strong. I don't even know when you are watching this video. Maybe the goal of 3,000 subscribers has already been reached. Let's make 5,000 subscribers our next goal. If you are not subscribed to the channel yet, be sure to subscribe, as videos are released here regularly. I would also like to say a special thank you to all of my paid subscribers on Patreon. Thanks to your support, I can really continue to do what I do. I hope you enjoy my content and that you will continue to support me. As they say, things must only get better from here. And if you have any ideas for my next videos, be sure to write them in the comments. I read them all. Thank you for listening. Meanwhile, we have already finished building our starting shooting floor. Here you will have not only an exit to the 3rd floor, but also a shooting position in all directions. You can play in this shack until the end of the wipe, but I would still recommend that you gradually expand. Starting shooting floor in such a shack is cool and convenient, but the protection of resources at this stage suffers, as you can see for yourself. I put the stove on the 2nd floor for a reason. With its help, the rise to the 3rd floor will be implemented. Now your base should look exactly like this. And now let's build up the 3rd floor competently. This is the most important thing in this base. If something does not work out for you, be sure to watch this episode of the video again, because now we will be building our blank for the pixel gap loot room, which we have in the ceiling. Here, the sequence plays the most important role. Look, I put the ceiling, then add stability, put the ceilings in this way, then I add a triangle on top, but now this triangle has little stability, I add it. Then I continue to put triangles on top. And in the end, we should put a square ceiling here to our last triangular ceiling. If you do everything like I did in the video, you will definitely succeed. As a result, you should see the sky through this gap between the two ceilings. If you really can't do it, you can always contact my Discord. I or my team of assistants will definitely help, and in general, there are already almost 100 of us there, so to speak. I think you will find the answer to your question there. We are improving this entire floor to sheet metal. Door frames can already be left stone, and of course, put doors in them. Now that you have a blank for the pixel gap ready, you can already spend all the resources on protecting your base. Look, here is your entrance to the base. We go to the right, and from here we start to build up everything as it should be. Close the right with walls 2 stories high, on the left in 1 floor, and make a loot room there. Now we move on to the front of the base. Here we make a blank for our future non-lootable locker. Then we completely close it with walls, and we also put walls at the bottom in 1 floor. Then we go left again. Here I sneezed, sorry. Below are solid walls in 1 floor. Further to the right loot room, to the left battery. We close all this with walls and go left. Here, in fact, without jokes, you can simply close everything with walls. I hope everything is clear. The ascent can be temporarily implemented through a square roof. And now look, here we have a bunker. To the right, we have a loot room for 4 large boxes. Here we have a blank for a future non-lootable locker. It is clear that we do not have it yet. And here we have a place with batteries. I build as you would do in survival. I deliberately did not put the battery to show you that it can be put from the inside. That is, just come up and put it. You can do this at absolutely any stage of your survival. But now I am not satisfied with the fact that we have only 1 door here, and I will solve this problem right now. The first 2 openings are our airlock, and we have a double door for the exit. For temporary use, this will of course be suitable, but if I were you, I would immediately start making the main entrance to the base. This is what I will do now. Here we will also have an entrance through the airlock. There will be a window opening in the middle to control the situation in front of the base, and in the far corner from the entrance there will be a rise higher. Here, look at the situation, what and where to upgrade, but it is better to do it here as I do, because I thought through all these nuances in advance. When you build up the 2nd floor here, do not forget that we should also have a place for 1 locker here. If, for example, you do not need it here, then you can put another large battery. If you suddenly need to connect some lamps or electric stoves, I think you get the idea. Place the doors so that they open towards each other. And now that your main entrance to the base is ready, everything should look like this from the outside. Now let's go to the back of the base from here. See this tall metal foundation? We need to strengthen it. If you have extra resources, you can upgrade it to HQM, by the way. It will take 25 HQM. And on the other side of the base, we make exactly the same entrance to the base, but only here we will not have an entrance. As you remember, this is a fake entrance, so nothing but a bed will be placed here. Such are the tricks. This is how it should look from the outside. And now look, on all our empty foundations, we install additional walls. 1 floor high, I marked them in red. And on the only stone foundation on each side, we simply make 2 single doors. walls. In principle, nothing complicated. I hope it is clear. Now there are already 3 walls to the main on the first floor. Next, look, here is one side, here is the other side, and we are starting to build up the exit to the 4th floor. If possible, upgrade these side walls to HQM. Everything else here can be made of sheet metal. In the future, a turret will stand under this rise, but note that you do not have a pixel peak yet. It will appear when we finish building the base. In short, it will be very soon. Don't worry. You most likely don't have a garage door yet, so the exit is through a double door. And in this triangle, there will be 6 electric stoves. Look, we have made only one side with you, but since the base is completely symmetrical, we do exactly the same thing on the other side. Personally, when I was recording the tutorial, it seems to me that everything is clear as possible. I hope you do too. Next, look, here is one exit, here is the second, and here it is important to build everything as I do in the video. We need to put one ceiling against one wall and the second ceiling against the other. Be sure to check that you can also see the sky between them. As you can see, I did everything, so I'm starting to build up everything here. And already at this stage, you can place boxes here in the pixel gap. I am showing the simplest arrangement, but if you have the skill of compact placement, then you can put 4 here. I try to show what is available to everyone. Here, of course, everything should be in sheet metal, but if anything, everything will work in HQM too. This is how it looks from the outside. Further, we have one more important point. Above the square buffer on each side, we need to put such a square frame and upgrade it at least to stone and preferably to sheet metal. Without it, you will not be able to build the shooting floor, so don't forget about it. Then we put another layer of walls on all our triangular red walls. I paint them white so that you can immediately understand what and where I am putting. The base is symmetrical, so we do this on both sides. Then we install a square roof on the only red undeveloped buffer. We do the same on all sides. There should be 4 pieces. It is needed not only to increase protection, but with it the shooting floor will be more pleasant to use. Now let's go to the 4th floor again and start building it up. Here, remember we have a pixel gap here, if anything. Here we simply put walls made of sheet metal everywhere and cover everything with ceilings also upgraded to sheet metal. Then we start building up our combat spawns. These are 2 main combat spawns, so it's better to take care of their equipment in advance. Let me remind you that you will have a total of 4 beds here, and when you build them, you can say that you have practically made the 4th floor. Well, all that remains is to build the shooting floor. Look, now I'll show you how to build it using flight, but when I build on the other side, I will already be able to speed it up, and I will show you how to build without fly there. We also improve the entire shooting floor to sheet metal if possible, because if they start raiding you, the shooting floor should remain intact. We put the ceilings on top so that they close everywhere, but from below, on the contrary, we close them with ceilings so that there is room for the shooting position. I'm Captain Obvious. We also upgrade the ceilings here so that they are not knocked out. Otherwise, enemy can get to the shooting floor. By the way, it is impossible to get inside the base through these slots that we have on the shooting floor, so don't worry about that. And so we finished one side of the shooting floor with you. On the other hand, we have everything the same too, and look, I am building this side without using fly, and everything is working out fine for me. So it will work out for you too. I think I showed it clearly. There should be no problems. Next, look, here is one side of the shooting floor, here is the other side, and we need to make an exit to the 5th floor. Now I will show you how to build it. There is nothing complicated here in principle. The most important thing is not to forget about the windows, and so in general, everything is easy. Well, and the exit, of course, through a double door. Here you can already close everything with ceilings. On the other hand, it is clear that everything is the same. You can even speed up this moment if you allow me. It seems like everything is already extremely simple. When you have an exit to the 5th floor, the base looks like this. And now we are building up the very roof of this base. Here we must have an exit to 2 sides of the roof, and we install 2 window openings in the center. It makes no sense to waste metal here, so you can already upgrade everything to stone. We do the same thing on the other hand. In fact, these extensions are needed only for additional protection, because at the bottom, we essentially have only garage doors, and garage doors, as you know, have a tendency to always be open. And now, in the center between our extensions, we will have another building. First, we need to find where our pixel gap is. It is above it that the opening for a double door will be located. It is better to upgrade these ceilings themselves to HQM. Then we put window openings around the perimeter, 2 by 2 everywhere. Where they are, not yet, of course. There is also no point in upgrading to sheet metal here, so leave everything in stone. We cover everything with square roofs on top. It is basically the same here. We also improve everything to stone. Another very important point, you need to separate the copter pad and your combat spawn, which will be here. This can be done with these 2 walls. And now we just insert the missing windows and a double door to the exit. It is clear that when the garage door appears, it will need to be installed. world, we install a triangular roof in the center of our base. In all other places, we simply put a square one. Only in this case, you will have the same slots as mine. I like them a lot. I recommend doing the same. If anything, with the default skin on stone, everything will be the same. But since the base is completely symmetrical, we do the same thing on the other side of the roof. Now let's get down to our pixel peak. I will build it using fly. We have a symmetrical base, and when I build on the other side, I will not use fly. Since this pixel peak does not give us any special protection, it can be left in stone or even in wood in some places. For more anonymity, I recommend putting up such square barricades. In addition to this pixel peak, this entire extension is needed for the turret that we will have on the roof. But in order to build the place for the turret correctly, you need to follow the sequence that I do in the video. You must first put a wooden roof like me, and only in this case these wooden frames will fit everywhere, like mine. And then you can close it all with nets. Put a windmill on top of it. And look, we made one side and everything is the same on the other side. And look, I don't use no clip, which means that you will definitely succeed in survival. And now that your base is completely ready, we start building the external area. I suggest doing it from here because this is where the turret will be in the future, and it will shoot at everyone who will be under your base. If you put it there, of course, you don't even need to upgrade this to sheet metal because in fact, this entire extension is only for the turret and territory. You will also need to put chains here. For chains, the frames can already be upgraded to wood, but so as not to waste extra resources. I remind you that our base is completely symmetrical, and we do the same thing on the other side, but only faster. And now that you have these sides ready, we are making the most important extension to the territory. Leave only those foundations that I leave in the video. That is, there should be no extra foundations. Since this does not give the base any special protection, it can all be left in stone. And now, build it up as I do in the video. This will be your long-range shooting position. Under the base, I mean. Why long-range? Because you can shoot sitting here, and I like shooting sitting. Now look, we have built a shooting position in the center with you, and it is on the sides of it that the entrance to the compound will be carried out. For each side, you will need 2 chains doors and 2 single doors. I tried to make everything as cheap as possible. This is the limit. The turret, I remind you, is here. And another important point. This entire structure of yours will decay. In order for it to receive power from the base, it must be connected with such a border. This must be done without fail. And I repeat 10 more times, our base is completely symmetrical, and we do the same thing on the other side. Even the border on this side should not be forgotten. And now let's imagine that you stole a row of sulfur from some clan. Now you need to protect your base in any way possible. The most correct solution would be to build a multi-TC. See, it doesn't put me up. I break this border, and now the TC takes its rightful place. And now this entire structure is connected to it, and your base has become cheaper to upkeep. Pretty useful mechanic. Now the most responsible part of building, the compound. You need to put up high walls correctly. First, you need to find the closest wall location to the base. Then you need to move as far to the right as possible so that there is no gap on the left. And if you did everything the same way as I did in the video, then it is logical that everything will work out for you the same way as in the video. But since our base is not at all symmetrical, on the other hand, we do not do the same thing at all. Something like that, right? In total, this base will need 8 high walls. I use wooden ones because they are more attractive, but stone ones can also be used if anything. Now we look at our slanted roofs on the second floor. Under each such slanted roof, we need to put a small iron triangular buffer. You ask, hidden joint, why do this? But actually it's simple. With this action, we close the only high foundation in this base, and from the outside, it will be impossible to understand where the bunker is, and is there one at all. That is why, in order to hide one high foundation, we put these small buffers on all 4 sides. Such are the tricks. And now there will be a tutorial on the placement of metal barricades in this base. First we put auxiliary triangles, then we put barricades, and then the triangles can be demolished. On the base where I put it, a barricade must also stand. Where we have the entrance to the base, we do exactly the same thing. We also demolish the ceilings and everything remains with us. And now, when it seemed that the base was almost ready, let me show you the installation of a non-lootable locker. Look, on this side we have an exit to the shooting floor, on the other side we also have an exit to the shooting floor, and then we start building as I do in the video. It is better to put the lockers themselves before you make these openings for single doors. They may not get up later. We take a vending machine, turn it with the lootable side towards us and as close as possible to the locker. locker. As soon as you see that the store is calmly walking left and right, pull it to the left and install it. We do this business and from two sides. If anything, the door can be put even when the vending machine is already standing. And look, they often write to me that you put a vending machine, and then you can't loot what is behind the vending machine. The vending machine always wants to turn around. To prevent it from spinning, just put something in it. When it has something in it, it cannot be spun. And in the center between the two vending machines, the second workbench stands perfectly. By the way, let's check how the pixel works. Remember, we made a blank for an unlootable locker. This could have been done earlier, of course, but we are doing it now. If anything, it can be put right from here. And don't forget to cover it with a ceiling. That's the kind of base we got. I would like to express my special gratitude to my paid subscribers on Patreon, as well as to everyone else who supports me with likes and subscriptions. It all means a lot to me. It is you who motivate me to do what I do. Subscribe, like, and check out my other videos, and I'm off to come up with a new house.